Hello, hi, aloha. This is Lokesh from the Soul Freedom Show. And yeah, I don't know why I say aloha. I'm not in Hawaii. But hola, maybe I should say because I'm in California. But and I don't know how you say it in Mexico. How do you say hi over there?
Hola.
Hola. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting the
Yeah.
Spanish. Yeah, I keep the Spanish, right?
You
Yeah.
stole California from us. It was Mexico. California is Mexico. It was
Okay.
stolen.
They stole it before I came
We
here.
just
So yeah.
yeah.
I'm not gonna take the blame for it. Talking about blame, talking about blame. Let's talk about Gandhi for a second. Today's hi everyone. We're live now. If anybody can confirm the audio and everything is okay. And welcome to the show. Thanks for joining. We have Charlie, Freak, and Collywog / Colleen today, Friday. I think part 6 today, right? Yeah. So we today's Mahatma Gandhi's birthday. I hope everybody knows.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to Gandhi. And October 2nd.
Gandhi
Namaste. I know. Yeah, it's one of those things like in India, everybody gets a day off on this day, but then we don't really get to talk about it. It's just like a holiday. And I think, but even like at these times, I think it's very important to think about non-violence. And I think not just in terms of like the physical violence. I think what I'm seeing right now is the online people just hating each other, even in the truth community. I think that's what it means to me today. Today's birthday of Gandhi means not just physical nonviolence, but spiritual. I mean, online nonviolence, or I don't know what you want to call it. But do you have anything to say about that?
Gandhi Ji was the father. Ji is a term of endearment to a father like one in Indian, and they give it to people who earn it, and that's all part of the system that Gandhi espoused and what we're all working towards, which is a meretricious system. And in the future, moving forward, if you want to be a doctor, you have to earn it. If you want to be part of the medical community that heals people, not as a monetary pimp for a pharmaceutical company, then you have to earn it. If you want to wear a crown, then you have to earn it. Nothing is going to be speciously given any further. Everything has to be earned. And that is the way it should be. That is the right way, because each of us are blessed with very unique and special gifts. And that's what we need to do, is live our lives to the fullest in the pursuit of our passions. And our passions are all uniquely different because we're all uniquely different from one another, but we're all connected to the same source, to the same soul.
And Gandhi set the bar really high.
He surely did. And that's why he's not gone. That's why he will never be gone. And that's why for both Colleen and I know for millions of others, he is very much alive inside of us in every single moment, and is a great inspiration.
It's like saying, who is John Galt? Or
yeah,
we are. Who is Q? We are.
Yeah. Who is Gandhi?
Who is Gandhi?
We are. We have to be. That's what he said. If it is all about me, then he said that they can kill me, and then this movement will end. It cannot be about me. And that's all of what we're living right now. All of what we're living right now. And there's an incredible quote. There are many incredible quotes from Gandhi Ji, but one in particular, and it's one that we gravitated to in the beginning, when we realized that virtually everything we knew was a lie, and we had to strip away the lies to get to a point where we knew almost nothing. But there's a quote from Gandhi Ji, and it says that that even the truth is the truth, and even in a minority of one, it is still the truth. And this is what we've been doing. That's
what we held on to get us to this point.
Yeah.
Because many people were just, you're crazy. You guys don't know what you're talking about. It can't be true.
Yeah.
We had to hold on to that quote from Gandhi.
And I will reiterate it. I'll reiterate again. Everything that they do is they turn what the truth is upside down. That is their God. Their God. Do your research. Their God is Baal. Baal. The Phoenician god is Baal. The queen was Semiramis, or you could say Ishtar, and the son is Tammuz. That's the cross of the Catholic Church. It's not Jesus Christ. It is Tammuz, of the satanic upside down Trinity, unholy Trinity. And so with their Baal god, he's known as the deceiver, and he deceived by turning the God's truth upside down to confuse the people and collect his power. And I will reiterate again and again and again and again and again. And eventually you're going to get there, because it is what you see, it's what you experience, and it is the truth. The earth is level. You are on the level. Water does not stick to a ball. And there are no images anywhere of any ocean that is curved. And even in the scientific community now, they're admitting left, right, and center that there is no curvature on the oceans. Okay, well, they conservatively say that essentially 3/4 of the earth is covered in water. So that's all flat, but it's just that land parts that's curved, and of course there are no images to support curvature on the land either. But everywhere we look, we see it flat. And of course, even like I said, the scientific community is now acknowledging that the oceans are flat, as they have to be. And the earth is at least, if not way more, covered by water. So it is our truth. And there's a reason for it, because we need to be on the level, because level is the truth. It's the light, it's the way. And to be able to practice meditation, to achieve stillness and silence, to go within and to connect with the Father, you have to have that stillness. You cannot have twisting and tumbling and turning and tilting and all of those silly things. So on this beautiful day with Gandhiji, and the importance of meditation and the importance of going within in stillness and silence, remember that everything is on the level. With God's creation, it's always on the level.
Yeah, cheers to that. Red October, so I have a red drink. Cheers to that. I know, White October. No, that was not a racist joke. Okay, anyway, let's not go there. Okay, let's move on to this image that you wanted to share. Colin, did you have anything to say, or can I move on to the image that you shared?
No, you can move on. Go for it.
All right. All right. So yeah, go. You wanted to share because I know there was been some news yesterday, so I'll let you go from here. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I was actually. Yes,
yeah.
Perfect. Great job. Thank you. So over the last 5 days, I basically haven't slept. I've had moments here and there where Colleen has made me lie down and then I've fallen asleep. But these are the last 5 days where that's going to take place. And so now I'm going to get back to, for all of our sakes, especially Collywog's sake, is to get back to.
Yeah, he doesn't sleep and I'm exhausted.
So get back to sleeping. But while I was up very late last night getting everything ready for today, and then of course all of the flooding of the announcement of POTUS and FLOTUS declaring that they had tested positive for something that they know full well doesn't exist. So it's code, and then of course it's decoding.
Part of the plan.
So I began to decode his comments, and then this was tweeted to us, and the person,
Not to
this
us,
is,
but we found it.
yeah, well eventually it came to us. That's right. So it originates with Chief White Raven, And this is exactly what I was working on at the time. And so you see, he just cut through the fluffy words and focused on what's coming. So remember, that's why it's so important to read and to know all of the Q posts, because it is a story, it is a narrative. And it connects to everything that they continue to say. And then if you take the mirrored image, you can take it back to each of those Q posts, and you can see for further information what they were speaking of. So October is the hunt for Red October. And this is what it's always been about. I think they always knew that things were going to be more difficult than they anticipated. So October has always been this month of the bloodletting, but it won't be our blood at all. It's going to be a bloodbath in October, but it's their blood. So if you look at this message tonight, at Flotus and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together. Now, when you look at this, begin process immediately to get her. And he so correctly identified equals the her equals Hillary. She will be the first person. And the cabal, or that's what's remaining of the cabal, are more than happy to do this. Because she's no longer an asset to them. In fact, she's the opposite of an asset. She is a liability for them right now. So they're going to offer her up first, but through her, which is so appropriate, through her, the bloodletting will begin, and it will lead to everybody. And so on the heels of this event, this is the bloodletting. Okay, so the clock is at 10 to 2, and there are 8 pips.
10 after.
10 after.
10 after 10.
10 after 10. The original was 2:10, but yeah. And there are 8 pips, and it's the 8 nights of bloodletting, and it's beginning. So that's why they always say, and what we just tweeted today as well, which is get the popcorn at the ready. And for all of you who have worked so hard and have stayed steadfast to the plan, this is your great reward. It's the reward for all of us, and that is the takedown of this facade. And that's what it is. And so in the
and how do you know?
many,
How do you know that that's true? That it's a facade is because the Mickey Mouse clock was 10 and 2, and October 2nd, which was yesterday, is when they declared they had COVID, and then they had to jet set off on their AF1, and then a process of events happened from that point, right?
That's right.
The ICBMs were lodged out.
Yeah, and that's right. And yeah, so East Coast, West Coast, these the great jets that were used back in the day to carry these intercontinental ballistic missiles that were designed to take out any incoming nuclear devices and detonate them over the oceans instead of on the mainland. These planes have been taken back up on both coasts as a signal to any and all nations to stand down and stay clear of what is going on in the United States. And by the way, for all of our brethren in Canada, as all of you know now that Colleen and I are both born and raised in Canada, there never has been a real Canada. It's always been a complete fake. There's never been a day of freedom. There's never been a real election in Canada. And moving forward, the Republic of Canada is already well underway. And remember, Justin Trudeau is not in power. He's already arrested. He has the ankle bracelet. Tell them what happens if any of these people try to distance themselves away from their security.
Well, I've discovered that they're allegedly, they have the little heart attack pill inside of them. And if they get too far away from the protection, that will be
Yeah, the capsule will be
mhm.
the seal will be burned, and the medication
however it
released
is that they
inside. That's
activate it.
right. That's
So
right.
they know that it's a termination instantly if they don't listen to the script and the program that they have been given. And they obviously have protection everywhere they go as well. So you can call it protection, you can call it security, you can call it.
Yeah. So the first thing when they would have seen this message last night, they would have recognized the code as well, and there would have been a lot of people.
And which, by the way, also you look at the timestamp, 2:22 a.m. on the 2nd of October, 2020. Can you get any more twos in there?
That's right.
I can't.
And again, that's the sacred mother, and this is the Kundalini rising. That's why FLOTUS tested positive as well, because this is this joint process between Jesus Christ ascending to become Christ Jesus, and of course to be able to rise. The male of the species, we are electrical, so we are a downward causation. So to be able to rise, we need the feminine, we need the mother, which is the Kundalini rising, because that is the scalar wave, the eternal A, and that is always rising, and that is how we regenerate and rise, is through the feminine. So it's so beautiful that it's the yin and the yang. Always, it's the unification between the masculine and the feminine. It's balance, it's harmony, and then we return to the Father, and then that's the Trinity, and then that is the true family: Father, Mother, Child, and then we've won. We've already won, and that's what's being signified here, and that's why the 2:22 a.m. timestamp on October 2nd of 2020, 222. Okay.
Incredible.
Yep. So that's the significance of all of this. And by the way, for our beautiful Canadian friends, I just want to finish that thought. There are lots of images capturing Air Force One flying over the US border up into Canada right now, Kanata right now, because Kanata is well protected by everything that is going on right now. We're brethren to our brothers and sisters in the United States. And the POTUS has come here for the time being. And again, there's just for all of our beautiful Canadian brothers and sisters, you are so loved. You are so appreciated. They know how beautiful we Canadians are, as are all of us. But you're loved, you're appreciated, because you are so peaceful, you're so generous and loving. And they know that Canada is well looked after and greatly respected by the powers that be.
Well, there isn't any country that's been left behind.
There hasn't. And that kind of just allows us to segue quickly into what's happening right now
South
in Africa. And
wow.
I did the podcast, in Kululeko. And great thanks to Jesse Perez, Casanova, and Jesse worked hard for us to be able to find that authentic Zulu word for the protection or restoration of the mother. Yeah. And that's where we're at. So that video that I did is just such a tribute to the beauty and the magnanimous power of the mother, of the feminine, the sacred feminine of Africa, and how she has to rise. And this is why the dumbs are being taken down from. See, once again, so everything ties in.
And all of the deep underground facilities.
Exactly.
They're not all military, but for sure.
That's
Notice
right.
how they're all starting at the base of Africa, and then you can imagine all of the submarine tunnels and all of the things, and the close location to Antarctica.
Yeah. And of course, but it's also human physiology as well, because in the base is you look at Africa, as I showed in that recent podcast of ours, that Africa, of course, she's shaped like the beautiful, perfect woman with the breast and the belly, and she's the mother. And so at the base of the torso is the root Muladhara chakra. And that, of course, is where within all of us, our magnetic energy is trapped deep down within us, and we have to release that magnetic energy. That's the sacred mother. and she needs to get back up here to the chamber of the bridegroom with the Father. And only one person can get her there, and that's Jesus Christ. And we are all, whether you're a man or a woman, we're all Jesus Christ. And until you get that, until you realize that that's the journey that we must all go on, that is why these events were captured. That's why the story is so well told, is because that's our journey. This is the hero's journey. And what we find is that you can't do it alone. You need the mother, and the mother can't do it alone. She needs the son, and the mother and the son together return home to the Father, and there the family is completed.
How amazing that the liberation of Africa, like,
is right now.
It's happening.
Like right
it's
now.
happening. There are helicopters floating over top. There are underground workers getting into the tunnels. There are seismic earthquakes being felt because they're blowing up the tunnels, doing all sorts of miraculous things to try to drain the swamp.
And Lokesh, very likely one of the questions you received today, because I received a whole bunch of those questions over the last couple of days after the video, is that some people are asking why this rapid destruction of the tunnels. Okay, it's not rapid. They have had a presence in South Africa for quite a while now, many months. It's only now that the actual destruction of the tunnels that's taking place. Going
after
back,
they've had to clean them out. And
that's right. Catalog everything, discover everything, rescue everything. I'm not going to say everything that they found, and of course I don't know everything that they found, but a lot of it wasn't pretty. So there's just a process, folks. But the thing that you need to remember, it's the same thing with people saying, like after we spilled the beans on Walmart and what Walmart has really been used for. And then there was a number of people saying, I work at Walmart. Does this mean I'm going to lose my job moving forward? I'm not really happy about any of this because I won't have a job. It's like, no, you need to just stop thinking along these lines. You need to stop thinking, and you need to just trust. And remember, when Colleen and I say trust the plan, ultimately what we're saying is you're trusting God's plan. God has a plan for all of us. And when you allow it to just play itself out, then you live in bliss. When you try to do it yourself through your left brain, that's the problem. That's what the whole New Testament is teaching you. That's what Jesus Christ is teaching you. Take no thought for yourself. So trusting this plan is the plan of God. And so you don't want to go back to Walmart. But the buildings they're filled with energy that will seep inside of you and will overturn your true essence inside of you. That what has gone on underground is so evil. We don't want to turn these into museums where you take people on tours. They've cataloged everything. They have videotaped everything. People will be able to see. Believe me, there are going to be movies. There's going to be everything showing us what was there. For those that want to see. For those that want to see. But remember, these poor kids that have been there, and what they've had to endure to save us. This has been horror beyond horrors for them, and they don't want to relive it, and nor should we. So please, there's some people that are even casting aspersions, like I'm a little suspicious about. No. This is months and months and months in capturing the tunnels, and then searching everywhere, recovering what can be recovered, cataloging everything, taking out everything that they need to take out, and then destroying these things because they're destroying that collective energy inside. Do you
remember hearing about that one was it in Texas? Where was it with Barbara Bush? And they were saying that there was a hurricane and then all the water flooded the tunnels.
Oh yeah, that's Houston, mm-hmm. Houston in Houston, Texas. That's right. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg was trapped in there as well. That's right. With that hurricane back in, that was 2017, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, and that's when Ruth Bader Ginsburg was actually taken out along with Barbara Bush.
You got a question?
Yeah. No, people have questions because I get those feedback. People say, "Oh, you're not getting to the questions." So if you're done, because that's what I was talking about earlier. Okay. Anyway, let's not go. Let me not go in that direction. But if you're done, let me just quickly read this question. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. I'll just. So this is a question a couple of people have asked, and also I think I have this on my mind too. It's about the debate that happened couple of days back. First of all, they should stop calling it debate because debate sounds like an argument. Anyway, so she's asking again. I'm not going to read out the names, but she's one of the Patreon members. So welcome, Charlie Freaks Patreon members. Okay, she's asking regarding the presidential debate. Why was Trump so aggressive? Surely that would only lose votes as he just came across as a bully. Why did he appear to endorse white supremacies? Why does he not appear to have a health package? I don't understand how all the secrecy and code serves the people of America versus coming straight out and saying what he's doing regarding the reset. Other than to keep things secret till criminals have been captured. There must be many people who aren't aware of what is happening, and they would be on board in a heartbeat if they understand. Thank you.
Great question. Thank you for sending that question, and thanks for sharing it, Lokesh. Again, this is complicated, and what you need to know is that that first debate was a complete setup. So Trump played a role, and once again,
As did Biden.
As
did Chris Wallace.
As did Biden and Chris Wallace. And of course, how now you see how you notice on the heels of that podcast, a whole bunch of images have come out showing Chris Wallace being greeted by the likes of George Clooney and others arriving on Epstein's Island.
No, that wasn't Epstein's Island. That was actually George Clooney's place.
Was it? Okay.
But his dad, Mike Wallace, was on Epstein's Island.
Okay, and there was also an image of Chris Wallace arriving on Water Island, which is the Biden family island. They're trying to sell it now. But so all of this is all well planned out. And so the thing is that you do have to trust the plan because of the enormity of what they're up against. And remember, because they've already won the battle, they've won the war, because they have collected all of the evidence and the documents, they're making decisions based upon a cumulative knowledge and knowing that we don't have. We are only guessing
from the horse's mouth.
That's right. So we're only guessing. So the decisions that they're making, while I get 100% what you're saying and calling it, I absolutely long for Trump to just stand up and he could have laid Biden to waste. Like Biden made so many mistakes and Trump let him get away with it because there's a reason. There's a reason, and the reason will become evident in the coming weeks. It truly will, because Biden is one of the people that is going to be savaged in this hunt for Red October. The Biden family, it's powerfully tied. That's the thing. If they offer up Hillary, which they're doing because she's now a liability to them, they don't realize that they're all tied to every pore of her disgusting, diseased corpse. So when she goes down, they all go down. And so as much as what you say is absolutely the truth on the surface, there's a deeper meaning. And again, you're frustrated, you're just ready to move on, and you're tired of all of the code and the secrecy and whatnot.
It's very, very frustrating.
But you need to remember, they're making all of these decisions based upon a knowingness. They have the totality of the NSA's captured documents. So they know. We don't. We're guessing. We're frustrated. There's a plan, and you do need to trust the plan. And very quickly, because clearly, Lokesh, this has got to be one of the questions today. It absolutely has to be. It must be on everybody's mind because there's so much stuff right now back and forth about NESARA right now. And remember, inside the protocols of NESARA and this is real, is that when these protocols are rolled out, there within 120 days, there is required to be a free election. And so to have an election on November 3rd, and then put America through that again 120 days later, or
on top of what we've already been through.
That's right.
All of this COVID.
Yeah, it isn't the most magnanimous practice or procedure or pathway. There are many pathways that they can go. Now, what I'm just going to share with you, and I'm not saying that we know this for sure, but there is an alternative pathway that we've known about, and that what happened yesterday really begins to indicate that this is now more likely. And what is more likely?
Possibility.
It is we're not.
This is our opinion.
That's right, and we don't like to share our opinions because
it's like a what if.
Because we're guessing. But what we do know is that this is part of one of 3 timelines moving forward with regard to the whole election thing and the date of the elections. Okay, and this does tie in to the Postmaster General's office. And this absolutely does tie into the fact that in 1781, the United States was, you cannot argue, this is absolute truth. 1781, the United States was very cleverly turned into a corpsoration, a dead body, and that the real republic has been hidden, lying in the wastelands all that time. And so this is why all of those things, remember going back about as much as a year ago now, or I think about a year ago, when it all really became public knowledge about where is the flag, where is the presidential seal. And then when they did reappear, they were mock-ups and actually poking some fun at various aspects of what's been going on. And then they just disappeared outright for a while. And this is all tied to what was happening. Now, remember, the Postmaster General's office is significant right now because when the cabal took control of the United States as a corporation, an all capitalized name, they did so they hid it through the Postmaster General's office. So remember, we were telling you that Kevin Costner is a good guy, and that to really understand Kevin Costner's career and the choices that he made, you really have to understand what's going on right now, and it all starts to make sense. So Dances with Wolves is a very important movie through Costner because he showed us many, many, many things, but he's showing us who the real wolves are, okay? And these are the people that were using the military to steal the land from those that had it. Possession is 9/10 of the law, and yet these demons used violent force
and stealing the people.
Stealing the land, stealing the people. And so that's one of the powerful messages from Dances with Wolves, is that who were the real wolves, okay? It certainly wasn't the wolf, and it certainly wasn't the natives, okay? And then secondly, what they did very powerfully, very importantly, because this is about moving forward, is that they created the love story, okay, which is very beautiful, but that allowed them to do something more important for us moving forward, and that's the inner workings of the Native community, okay? And so what they showed us is how it is an extended family, how the entire community of elders is responsible for the raising of the children. And when that is the case, when you have an extended family, that's why with all of these cultures, and it's not just the plains natives of North America, it's every single piece of land on this beautiful earth. All of the peoples did the same thing. And the result was there's no violence, there's no crime, and there's no defamation of character. There's no need for prisons. There's no need for lawyers, none of it, because everybody else was responsible for the raising of every single child. Everybody was all in with the growth and development of the seed. And so this is where you see how we need to move forward. And that's one of the most important things about that movie, was showing us how beautiful those communities are. That's our real history. That's our real truth that's been hidden from us. And this is what we need to get back to. Okay, very importantly. Then he did Waterworld. We've talked to you quite a bit about Waterworld. The evil guy had one eye. And he had all this power, and all he had to do was just enjoy his power, but he couldn't, because he was obsessed with all power of all things, and it brought him to his own destruction. And then the other aspect to Waterworld is with Kevin Costner's character, is how he continued to adapt, right? So he was evolving, whereas the cabal was de-evolving, because they had such a narrow, limited focus that led them further and further and further into the depths of hell. And Kevin Costner's character,
that's how magical mankind is.
That's right. Yep. And he just kept rising and rising and rising, and while they went down, he went up, and he found dry land, and then
but developed gills.
That's right, because he kept evolving higher in the ether.
And then the next movie.
And then, of course, the postmaster, or the postman, and that, of course, now we're seeing Russell J. Gould and his genius to be able to just walk in to the postmaster general's office and demand the protocols of the real Republic of the United States of America. It's genius. And we'll work to have Russell on the show with us. And by the way, we have Gene Decode lined up now, and I think about two weeks time with Gene. So and we'll work to have Russell in there as well.
Is there another question, Lokesh?
So Kevin Costner, just showing you one of these people that has been part of this bigger picture, and foreshadowing these things that have been coming. Okay. And so to fully wrap that up, Lokesh, and for everybody else's benefit, again, with regard to NESARA, and remember what we've been telling you now over the last month or so, they may not use NESARA, and that's why they've distanced themselves from just SARA, because there is no just SARA. Just SARA was something added on by likely the globalists. And just SARA reeks too much of the New World Order. And besides, this should be a singular people's journey. It should be done in one nation, then another, and another. It should be everybody's NESARA. Because you have to own this. Everybody has to own. So
there are protocols that come with this kind of a jubilee, or this kind of a reset.
That's the key word, is jubilee.
What are the protocols that have to take place when something like this rolls out?
It's a complete formal reset, and that's why this election, free election within 120 days. So what we're just saying is that there could very well be a rethink in terms of the election and how it's going to go down, so that there's only one election and not two elections. Now, if what we're saying is correct, if this is the pathway that it now looks like that they're going to going, it's good news for you in many ways, because obviously you're only going to have to go through one election, not two. And secondly, it means that they have to begin to officially announce and then release the protocols of NESARA. And
within 4 months.
That's right. It has to be in full operation, or full swing. And so the first thing will be that's already all set. So many people have already had that miracle occur and have shared it with us. So already the debt cancellation is already in place. Now, remember again, this is being done because debt is illegal. Okay, it's you got to get the other stuff out of your head, and it's somehow rewarding people that were careless with their. Come on, the game is rigged against us. Don't judge your brothers and sisters. Okay, we've been living a lie.
All for all mankind, and it'll completely change. Like Trump says, the best is yet to come. And
That's
they
right.
really mean that, because our entire paradigm is going to change.
And so
for the
what,
better.
as a truth package, what it's doing is it's getting rid of what is false.
We'll call it Trump SAR.
Trump SAR. What Trump SAR is getting rid of what's illegal. It's getting rid of what's illegal. You can't have debt. You can't have this debt-based currency. So you're going to have a real currency, okay? You're going to have real money.
Based off of
Why
the
not?
gold
We don't want to
standard.
say currency. We just want to say money. You're going to have real money backed by actual value, because that's all that can exist is the principle. Principle is an actualization of actual assets, of actual possessions of value. So in this case, precious metals. And that's what this currency will be backed by, and it'll be solid. Now, the thing that you need to know, the moment that you do that, see, very few people are talking about this, but I have a master's in business administration. I have an undergraduate degree in economics. So I can tell you all of these things. The moment that you do that, interest, this game of interest, the game of interest, usury, of course, is illegal. It's over, but inflation is gone. And then remember, with all of the speeches in and around Whirlpool with Donald Trump, and he kept talking for about 3 speeches in a row about this middleman who kept taking everything out of the system. Nobody knows really who they are. No, they don't. Nobody knows who they are, where they are, but they take the biggest portion out of these prices. These prices are way too high, and it's like a hidden group. Nobody seems to know who they are. Blah, blah, blah. So that's the cabal. Those are the Phoenicians. That's the Jesuits.
The family of 13.
That's the
13
bloodline families out of Venice, the island at sea. The middleman. That's who's been sucking us dry.
That's who hides within the Trojan horses.
Exactly. And everything is a Trojan horse. Taxes are a Trojan horse. That's why they're all going. Taxes are illegal. The only tax that can exist is a free choice, and that'll be a point of sale tax for non-essential goods. Okay, it'll be probably about 17%. Show them the drink. Show them the drink.
Oh yeah, the 17. Yeah, for people who are newbies, Q is 17.
So probably 17% will be the point of sale tax for non-essential, okay? But everything else will be reduced, giving you thousands upon thousands of dollars back into your pocket. Property taxes, sorry, what was that? It just went out the window. I could barely see it. I think that was your property taxes. Bye.
That will be amazing.
Bye. Bull crap. You never own your house if you have property taxes. Never. You're a debt slave.
So that's going to be gone.
So that's going to be gone as well. So again, with NESARA, they're taking away what's illegal. And now here's the other side that you need to embrace. What they're going to give you is what is rightfully yours, which is all of the inventions of your brothers and sisters. Okay. So we have family. We're all family. We're all one. We're all connected to each other. And there are beautiful, brilliant people who have come before us who have opened these pathways in directions like magnetism.
Let's just remember those that gave their lives for some of these inventions that the cabal killed because they were not willing to let them free. So
yeah. And these people wanted to give them for free. Many didn't, but there are those that did want to just give them for free, like Nikola Tesla. And so that's the other aspect of NESARA. It says that what is hidden must come to the light, and what is hidden is the truth. And what is hidden is power to the individual, and what is hidden is power to the individual that is endless. And makes you independent is what you must be. You must become independent. So this is the truth of NESARA. This is the importance of NESARA. And when they start it, there has to be a cleansing, which is the free elections no later than 120 days after, and that the plan must be fully rolled out. So, oh my gosh, these dogs, yike. And these are very exciting times, and we don't know 100% which of the 3 pathways that they're going to go. But based on what they did last night, it is kind of hinting that they're going to go this kinder route. And by the way,
I actually wasn't expecting.
I wasn't either.
The Trump COVID thing. I don't know if any of you were. It's an interesting twist.
It's one of the 3 path lines that we were aware of, but it didn't seem that they were headed in that direction. It didn't seem that at all. But it is what they've decided to do. And it does appear that this is the pathway that leads to Nasara sooner than later, which again works in your benefit. So there are great benefits to what has occurred in the last 24 hours. So very, very good news, very powerful things. Okay, Lokesh, back to you for more questions.
If not, we'll just ask our own questions.
So much of the questions about South Africa have been, but that's below ground. And we have so many problems. This is the same thing that was happening with Australia as well. We have so many problems above ground. And then this is the thing that's very disturbing. I'm very, very disappointed. And I told Charlie Ward that I was as well, that Charlie put that, I believe his name is David Steele, on his show and let him go on with this new narrative that the 5G is alive and kicking and is destroying China as we speak, and that it's active in different little pockets and alcoves and stuff. Guarantee you it isn't. All this stuff, all this nonsense has to stop. The 5G network has been disassembled. The 5G network, what would be these waves, have been disassembled. So there's no switch to pull. There's no government in the world, and these towers that exist are no longer configured to something like a conveyance of 5G.
So we'll just let that narrative go for a while.
Yeah.
It's not taking us anywhere.
It isn't. It's just making you fear. It's just fear porn. And there are people for a host of reasons
that prey on that. And so you just need to stop listening. It's like stop watching the television, all of the networks, the news networks. That also means some of the those wonderful truthers out there that are only spreading pure, what do you call it? Fear porn.
Yeah. I'll agree to that. Yeah. I did that like 4 days back. I switched off everything. There's so much of hate people are spreading. I actually, getting back to music, I used to listen to a lot of music. And then 4 or 5 days back, I realized, I need to get back to my roots. So I didn't mean to kind of interrupt, but I think, that's something I think a lot of people are also seeing.
So
that
true,
a lot
Lokesh.
We need to get back to, I think last time we talked about the intuition and the meditation. That's good. But I think also we need to have something like a hobby, which we are passionate about. And music is one thing, I think a lot of people connect to. I mean, that's just my humble opinion, that instead of just watching so much of the internet stuff, get back to that.
Exactly.
Well, music is everything. And remember that the science of the effect of music upon us at a cellular level is called cymatics, or some people pronounce it like a K, kymatics or kymatica. Right. Cymatics are the vibrations and these uniform patterns that music has, and that music presents to us at a very cellular level. And so when you're listening to horrific sounds, it's the same thing with looking at horrific images. There's an effect upon us because we are connected to everything in every moment. And when you connect to beautiful things like Dr. Emoto's work with water, how you could take water and then crystallize it after an intention, after a meditation, after a spoken word. So the words didn't have to be spoken, after a symbolic gesture. So it could have just been an act that was taking place. And then what he did is he captured the moment in the water by crystallizing its structure. And then all of the shapes were just beautiful. And when the source material was discordant and sporadic, then it was horrific to look at. And so remember what Colleen shared with us about 6 weeks ago, that if you're not happy about you, and you're not happy, for example, right down to just the way you look, remember, there is a stunningly beautiful you both inside and out, and there is a horrifically ugly you both inside and out. You want to feel better about yourself. You want to look good in all moments. You want to look young again and be healthy.
Be happy.
Be happy. And the happiness comes when
love,
which is through love, when you see that love run free in everybody else. So like Lokesh is talking about hobbies right now, make care and compassion your number one hobby. So make the children of this world and the elderly of this world and the handicapped of this world, make that your hobby. Those who cannot defend
hard to be
themselves.
depressed when you're loving and giving to those in service of those who are.
Yep, those who can't defend themselves adequately must be protected. We must be the ones that stand up and protect all of those who cannot be who cannot properly defend themselves.
They live around us all over the place.
That's right. And that includes, of course, the animals. And there were a few people in the comments to the videos, and thank you, Lokesh, for uploading directly yourself to our channel, both the Q&A 4 and 5, which you just did in the last couple of days, and they're soaring again in views. Thank you for doing that. And there were a few people in the notes that made negative comments about putting the slaughterhouse images at the beginning. Tough. You don't like it? Do something about it. Are you still eating meat and you don't like that because you're eating meat and you don't like to be reminded of what's going on? Those images and those videos shouldn't, like Lokesh said 2 weeks ago, shouldn't stop until such time that the act stops. What we're doing is flat out wrong. And I said to you before, even if meat, dairy, and eggs were the best things in the world for us, and they're not, they're the absolute worst. And that's just from a physical, let alone the metaphysical karma attached to this murder. Even if they were, we'd have to stop. This is insanity.
That's part of the good work of fighting the ego, right? The dragon, the demons. You might like the taste of that food, but when you take a look at where it really comes from and the pain and suffering and agony that has to happen in order for you to eat that food, you will take another look at it and you will hopefully do the goodly God thing.
I think it's an addiction for sure, both physical and
but
psychological.
Of course it is.
Yeah. And I think for me personally, it helped me become vegan and vegetarian after I watched some of those documentaries. That's why I played it the other day. And I got a lot of, what's the right word? Flack for it or slack for it? Flack for it. Flack for it, yeah. But, one of those things that you have to do what you have to do. Like, you can't please everybody all the time. You can please some people, but there'll always be people complaining. And that's why I brought up Mahatma Gandhi in the beginning. Is non-violence is not just about physical non-violence, it's also about emotional and like respecting each other.
The two key words that totally get lost about the Gandhi revolution are these two Sanskrit words, and they're very, very, very powerful. And it's the two laws that govern Colleen and I. We only have two laws. We have God's three laws of the land, but they're encompassed by these two Sanskrit laws. And these two Sanskrit words are satyagraha and ahimsa. And satyagraha is the pursuit of truth as a way of life. Until you realize this, until you get there, folks, you're going to suffer. The moment that you realize that you're here to seek the truth no matter what, that's the apprentice becoming the master. Donald Trump, apprentice to the master. Come on.
And it's been a challenge to find the truth. It has not been easy. And so don't beat yourself up. We've been doing our best and we've been lied to by the best.
Yep, that's right.
Deceivers in the world.
Yeah.
But that is about to change. It's about to change.
Yeah, Dan Fogelberg, and from his incredible album, which I have as the #2 best, most important album of all time, which is The Innocent Age, a double album of original material.
Incredible.
From his song Lost in the Sun, he sings so emotionally, powerfully. I always knew the final truths lay just beneath the lies, but I never thought they'd be this hard to find. I never thought they would be this hard to find. They have done such an amazing job. Remember what I shared with you guys my 3-year odyssey while I was writing the books about learning Nikola Tesla and how I had to learn to get around the trickster Google search engine on the internet.
Which slowly got worse and worse and worse as time went
Worse
on.
and worse and worse. And until you learn these protocols, that's the only reason I was able to find all the things about Adolf Hitler and Adolf Hitler's Germany, is by using the protocols that I learned about finding the truth about Nikola Tesla.
So it will become easier and easier as things become unveiled and disclosed. And so we can all get excited about that. The truth is going to be easier to find.
That's right. It'll be there in plain sight, and it'll only be you that will either allow yourself to see it or deny yourself from it. So, but yeah, so the truth, we have been lied to, and it's been hidden from us. So, as I said, when you are at a point where you are force breeding a trillion sentient beings, every single annum passage of the sun, to have food,
when we don't need it.
That's insane. By the way, look at these words in terms of the path that we should be taking, and listen to how they all end. Vegetarians, fruitarians, breatharians. All of those words end with the Aryans. The Aryans who built this world, who built the pyramids, who united two worlds, who created the Vedic period in India, is the basis to Krishna and Buddha and Zoroaster, all of it.
Yeah, quickly, a question couple of people are asking. One is about the Native Americans who eat meat. And the other is, I also got a couple of emails about how hard it is to become fruitarian, and also some people are talking about cheese. It's hard for me to give up cheese. So there's basically two. One is, why do Native Americans or some tribes, like eat meat? And why is it not wrong for them, basically?
It isn't right or wrong for them to eat meat. It's a choice that they make, and there are consequences to it. It's why they live in celebration of the life that they're taking, and it's why it's a solemn experience. So you'll see with the natives that they don't have the ego attached to what you see with these the nouveau hunters of today, who put their prized murderings on the wall, and then powerfully share that with everyone and everything. They didn't do that. They understood powerfully that the consequence of doing what they were doing. But remember, that's only some. And again, a lot of what we hear has been altered. So we don't know how truthful any of that is. But what we do know is that those that lived in harsh areas during the winter months required food that could be stored, salted. And so essentially that is what they did. And of course, clothing, and then structure to be able to make their housing, like teepees and whatnot, were all coming from these animals.
So, but we don't really know what the world would look like if the evil had not tried to sequester us into certain packages of land, or we weren't able to go anywhere. So what would it have looked like? Where would the natives have actually gone to had they been allowed to? Would they have come down closer to Mexico and grown fruit and maybe not eaten meat? And the Eskimos probably wouldn't have lived up there in the north. I don't even know why they were up there to begin with.
Again, when you begin,
people didn't have to live up there.
That's right. When you begin to look at these thematic maps where they show where the majority of the population of the Earth is, and then in relation to the geographic landscapes of the Earth, there's one of your, if not the biggest conspiracy of all, is that how come the vast majority of people are living outside of the golden zone. The golden zone is from the Tropic of Cancer to the Tropic of Capricorn, because it has a growing season of 365 days a year. We live within the golden zone for a reason. It's just common sense.
I can't imagine why anybody else would make that choice unless they were, trying to run from something or made to live there.
Right, exactly. There's a lot that we don't know about our true
And
history.
in fact, the natives used to do the migrations, right? They used to follow, well, obviously their food, but I'm sure that they would have made a trek to where it was warmer and been able to grow things.
Yeah, and remember,
Makes
one of
no
the
sense.
things that I unveiled in the podcast on Mother Africa is that there is an aquifer the size of the Sahara Desert underneath the Sahara Desert. So then it begs the question, why has that aquifer not been used to turn the Sahara Desert from a vast desert wasteland into a paradise on earth that would feed every single being on earth 5 times over? Why? And that's because we live in the system of lust, greed, and in violence everywhere. And it takes and it takes and it takes, and it has power through lack. When we have lack, they have abundance. That's what it's all about. It isn't about them having unlimited abundance. It's about us having unlimited lack. And so that's why they suppress the technologies. Nasara is the release of these technologies, okay?
So we'll be able to grow whatever we want, wherever we want, whenever we want.
That's right, for free. And if there is a fracture in the aquifer and water bubbles up to the surface, then what are those called? An oasis. It's a beautiful word. And if you look at the actual etymological root of oasis, it's an extremely beautiful word. And those oases are some of the most beautiful settings that you could ever possibly imagine. And what's the magic there? Water and sun. That's it. You just put water into the sun, and that was just sand. And look at how lush the life is in these oases. So if there's an oasis, and that's all a desert oasis, because Gaddafi, when he created
had they been allowed to do
exactly
what they were doing.
Exactly.
And that will happen.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part.
Exactly.
All of the things that were going to happen or that were talked about are going to be able to happen
That's
now
right.
because.
And if you want to make a community and you want to make a trek to be part of this revolution of the Sahara and turning the Sahara into a paradise and creating an extended family of love, you're going to be able to do these things.
Exciting adventure, wouldn't it?
Exactly. So the Golden Triangle is largely empty of people. That makes no sense.
So hopefully we'll see a migration of people from the cold coming frugivores.
Which is what you are. And
Yep.
Nobody can deny
it's
that
embracing
you
the
are
truth.
100%
We can do
inside
it.
and out a frugivore.
Yeah.
So, and besides Colleen on her Facebook page, I'm looking at it right here. I can actually send it to Lokesh in a sec here, and he can actually put it on the screen if he wants. But there was how to grow a survival garden indoors. And what Colleen said is that, no, it's not a survival, garden or emergency kind of thing. It's a way of life. This is what you do. And so this lady just had a series of these little videos showing you how you can grow virtually any fruit or vegetable inside your house. And that the inside of her house was just filled with these lush plants to eat, to consume. So easy to do. If people can build massive multi-million-dollar cannabis growing operations in their basements, yeah, you can grow some lettuce in December in Canada. So there's a will, there's a way, but doors are going to be open to you, and then these questions become.
Can you put it back?
Yeah. So there was also another question regarding how people who are struggling with it, people like This one person wrote, "I can't stop eating cheese." The other person, I got a couple of emails about the frugatarians, like how hard it is. Like, basically they're looking for tips on how to switch to a vegetarian or frugatarian diet. I don't know if you're able to hear me. Are you able to hear me?
Well, once again, avail yourself of all of the podcasts on Freak Sense TV. You're not.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah. I think even people are typing that your voice was breaking.
So to everyone
Yeah,
out
go
there,
ahead.
remember, there's too much. Okay. So a reminder to everyone, that's what Freak Sense TV is for. We are extremely pleased with what's been created, the library of work and the holistic library of work that exists on Freak Sense TV. It's there for you. And there's far too much of this first page, massive amount of watches and whatnot, and then everything tapering off. There's a video that we did way back about that cancer is a hoax, and that all it is acidosis. Of course it is.
I think in just about every one of your podcasts in the beginning, he talks about cheese. So if you watch some of those, you'll discover what cheese is and why you're so addicted to it. And we won't get into that right now because he's done it ad nauseum in all of his videos. So just give a good watch to those, and it'll help you. And those are where our tips are.
Yeah.
So we'll also be doing another series with Josh X about food, which is all we'll be talking about for 2 hours, and then the next series.
And also to announce to everyone, I think most of you know, we just did a podcast with Christopher James, Christopher who lives in Canada. Christopher comes from a very tangible background, so he had a lot of horrific things happen to his very honest and beautiful attempts in and around the music industry to create a service to mankind that would have been beautiful and would have shared the profits and the rewards with communities. They're just a really beautiful idea. And then Chris had this idea of his shut down, and he began to learn why, and he began to learn about the Fed and this fake money. And then he began to learn how that is printed out of thin air, and that it's monopoly money and they can print as much as they want, and that they're bribing all of these politicians. And then he eventually got to a point of learning that our entire legal system is a complete ruse. So of the land, that's God. It is level, it is still stationary, and there are only 3 laws, and they're so simple and direct. You already know what they are. What's that? Number one, treat others as you would treat yourself. 2, cause no harm to anyone in any form. So you see, it's kind of like satyagraha and ahimsa. And I'll just finish because I started with satyagraha and didn't touch on ahimsa in Sanskrit. Ahimsa is exactly that: cause no violence in any form to any sentient being.
Which means don't eat meat, don't eat cheese,
right?
Don't eat eggs.
Yeah,
because those animals are hurt.
That's right, in the process. But what ahimsa says is that do anything that you want to do. No one, it cause no harm. So do whatever your passion to do, cause no harm. And that's the only stipulation, folks, and that's a great stipulation. Cause no harm to any other sentient creation in your pursuit of happiness. And guess what? You will have happiness. That's exactly how it comes.
That's alignment.
That is exactly perfect alignment. So satyagraha and ahimsa. So 1, 2, and then number 3 of the laws of the land is that if you do cause harm to any other person or property or sentient creation, then you make restitution, and you make restitution in the moment. And that's why on that podcast with Christopher, I shared the true story of the history of sheriffs. Sheriffs were the circuit court. They were the original circuit court. They are these administrators of justice. And again, what did the sheriffs do? They traveled around on their little ponies, and they went from town to town, and they listened to conflicts. And you hear the word that I said? They listen, because that's what justice is all about, is listening. And then what they were listening for, and I said in the podcast, is they were listening for one thing, a wrong. Was there a wrong, or were there multiple wrongs? And then,
that's what a king is, right? As king, he's asking the questions and he's listening for the answers.
That's right. So in the podcast, you heard me teach about this powerful, powerful truth about Jesus Christ and why the New Testament is written the way it is, where he constantly is king, because he's always asking the questions. So when the Pharisees of the Hebrew Jewish church questioned Jesus on any of these things, what did he always do? He turned their questions dark to light, and he asked the questions. He asked the question back to them. So he's as king. And that's what I was saying on Christopher on the show. This is, you see, this is a tennis court. And that's what tennis is all about. You need to hold serve, because he who holds serve has the advantage. See, advantage, McEnroe. That's how it works in tennis. If you hold serve, you know where you're going to hit the ball. The other person is guessing. You don't want to live life as a guesser. You want to live life as the knower, and that is the person who holds serve on their court. See, it's a metaphor for you. You have to take control of you, and you do that by never bowing to any man or any man-made institution. The only one we bow to is to God, and that's why this is the crown of the head. The back of the skull is the crown of the head. Here in the center at the back is the claustrum, just to the right, and right next to it in that chimney that runs down and from the claustrum down into the third ventricle of the brain, that is where the mercy seat of God is. And Santa Claus and God live next door to each other at the back crown of the head. Now, why is that the true crown? Because we are penitent before God. Not to any man, nor to any other works of man. We are only penitent and humble before God. And this is the penitent man, dear Father, guide me. And this is what we do in humbleness before the Creator.
And you can't do that when you're in ego.
That's right.
In left brain. And so that's why we try to teach all the time about balancing the left brain that wants to take control all the time. The left brain wants you to eat cheese. The left brain wants you to be adrenochromer in animals, and God knows something else. It just takes you away from your true alignment, and then you are not the penitent man anymore. You're driven by your desires. You're driven by your emotions. You're no longer able to make that connection, because
a beautiful call. And guys, that's why you're constantly seeing these metaphors about the eye. So again, this ultimate metaphor for the penitent man is the east gate of the ancient city of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is just an allegory for the third ventricle of the brain. So is Jericho for Joshua. It's just the third ventricle of your brain. And the eastern gate is, of course, from God, from the east, the eastern gate. And that eastern gate in ancient Jerusalem was so low that the camel, the wealth of the camel on the back of the camel had to be taken off, and the camel had to be on its knees to be able to get through the gate. But you see, these camels were afraid to inch forward on their hands and knees, on their knees. So it required the Bedouin to also humble himself, to take off his backpack, to take off his worldly riches and get on his hands and knees. And he had to lead the camel through that eastern gate, because it's forcing penitence before God. It's the only way to enter into the center mind, the middle way, the path of Buddha, is via this humility and humbleness before God, the penitent man. And that's why that gate is called the eye of a needle. And that's why it's easier to get a camel through the eye of a needle. That's the name of that eastern gate in Jerusalem. It's easier to get the camel through the eastern gate of Jerusalem, the eye of the needle, than it is a rich man into heaven. Ego.
And rich can also be just thoughts.
Of the left, that's right, possessive left brain
thoughts. It doesn't have to
thoughts.
mean that you're rich in money or anything like that, but
yeah. And then in that Mother Africa podcast, what was I showing to everyone? The symbology of the hurricane and
The eye of the hurricane.
The eye of the hurricane. And so the thing that Colleen and I came to the understanding is that the thing about the eye of the hurricane is that there's no way out. Once you get into the eye, there's no way out. The only way out.
You actually don't want to get out.
Exactly, because it's a metaphor to tell you that's your journey's end. Your journey's end is the eye of a hurricane. And so you see left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain. The hurricane that surrounds you is the out there world. See, this is the Luciferian agenda. It's all out there. It's all out there. We're the scientists. We've got the answers. Listen to us. The universe is endless. Of course, there's no firmament and, there's no God and all of these things. No. And there were dinosaurs, there's you. You're going to go, and then there'll be jackrabbits with, super military technology in their legs or something. And then they'll go and no. The earth is mankind, and we are the pinnacle creation. And there's never been an earth without us looking like this and being like this. And everything is a journey between the left brain and the right brain. And the hurricane is your left brain. The eye of the hurricane is your right brain. And that's why when you have this hazardous journey to get through the hurricane, back into the eye of the needle, back into the eye of the hurricane, which is stillness and silence. See, stillness and silence on the level. Once you get back there, there's no way out unless you go back through the chaos. And you see, that's your left brain. These are the perfect analogies. And remember, folks, you see this? They're all single eyes. The eye of a needle is a single eye. The eye of a hurricane is a single eye. It's a single eye. The third eye is your single eye. That's why the number 6 should not be feared. It's a great number. The number 6 is the journey of man, because this is your 6th chakra right here. This is Ajna. What was Steely Dan's 6th album? Asia.
So a series of taking back all of the symbology that they've twisted on us and re-educating ourselves on what this all really magically means for us in the good white light. So next question.
Cast the net to the right.
A couple of people are asking where I got this shirt. I'm gonna post it on.
It's a great shirt.
It's another QAnon shirt. So last time I got another one, they didn't ban I'm trying to get my video channel banned, because I think it's a good publicity. When you get banned, you're saying the truth. So I got another one. Let's see if they try to ban me this. There was a question about Ayn Rand, but before reading that, I'm going to read about one question about Canada. There's something that came out today morning. It looks like it's urgent. She says, I don't know if this is the correct way. The question is, I would like to know if they have updates on Canada. I live in Montreal, and as of yesterday, they are prohibiting us from having anyone in our homes. Only people living at the address will be allowed inside a home. Also, they're going to use start using a tracing app. Would love to know your thoughts on that. Thanks.
A tracing what?
An app that traces your So this is just all bullshit, and it's designed. So the whole idea, folks, is to outrage you so that you do something about it. So look at what happened finally in London. We had
Trudeau has no power. He's not even there anymore.
No, he's under arrest. Trudeau's under arrest, and they're going to allow him to go through these 3 civil trials that he's got himself into on his own accord. He's got himself into a huge mess, and they're going to let him be tortured through these civil trials. But he's under arrest. He's not the Prime Minister of Canada. There is a hidden tribunal that is behind all of these countries, and these tribunals are basically continuing the goodly godly governance of these lands. So this is just a basic day-to-day things have to get done, and they're being done. What essentially parliaments have been, and houses of Congress and these things, they've been left standing to show you the carnival of the circus. See, carnival is the carnivore of the carnal world. Left brain, left brain, left brain. And who
And
works
you
at a
have to
circus?
show the people. You can't tell the people. We keep saying
Yeah.
we have to see
Yeah.
what's been going on.
Yeah.
Because most people wouldn't believe it.
Right. So, and what do they call a person that works for the circus? A carny, carnival, carnivore, the carnal left brain world. It says it right in the Bible, the carnal left brain world. And when you cast your left to the net, that is the opposite. When you cast your net to the left, you're going the opposite of God. And then you're going to have your hurricane, and your whole life will be a hurricane, because that's what the left brain is.
And I think most of us have lived that life.
Of course, because they forced us into it from borning day, not a birthing day, but at a dock tour of the birthing canal.
That's a good segue right now. She was talking about.
This is very important that I finish this, folks. So you see, all this stuff, now you're hearing this about Montreal and Quebec, and you're hearing that, and now they're talking about a tracing device. Remember where we were 6 weeks ago, or even a month ago on the show, and everyone in Australia was freaking out. And where are we today? Okay, where were we 3 months ago about the United States?
Over Australia.
That's right. And where are we right now with all the threats and the fears about door-to-door, Marines door-to-door with
or the 5G
then the 5G being turned on and stuff. So all these people who continue to allege that the 5G is not active, as I told you, it's not active. Chemtrails is the same thing. If any one of these prime ministers or presidents, you think that they have any power, and they get on a phone, they say, yeah, I want some planes up there, and I want lots and lots and lots of that smart dust and heavy metals being dropped. I want some goddamn. I want them. I want to have those chemtrails in the sky. If
you're seeing something, then you can be very rest assured that it isn't the chemtrails any longer.
That's right.
That it would be something goodly and godly that they would be putting out, because Trump
that's right.
is in control.
Yeah, and again, if you doubt us and you think that this is hopium and stuff, why has everyone capitulated? Why are things going down the way that they've gone down? Why are all these celebrities doing their shows from home? Why do they all have images with ankle bracelets on? Why is the world essentially hiding behind? So remember, this is your entertainment world. See, Lokesh was one of the first to pick up on this. Hollywood has been destroyed. There is no Hollywood anymore. There isn't. And what's taking place now through
it's a great big theater.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the whole thing has been turned into a stage. That's right. So Shakespeare proven right. But the films that are being made now are these goodly, godly films that are going to be telling us about everything that's been happening and showing you movies about how we're supposed to live and about happiness and joy.
Now, there's this thing on Netflix about these little children, the 13-year-olds that were cuties, I think it was called.
Cuties,
now, they allow stuff like that because that's what they had planned. That's what the cabal had planned in part of their programming of making a normalcy out of sexualizing young children and lowering the race. That's what Ruth Ginsburg was all about.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Lowering the age of consent for children having sex with adults, like down to 12 or 11 or 9. They wanted
That's what she wanted.
Of course they wanted to, and soon it would have been babies. And it's not right. And so they're allowing that to play itself out. And it's disgusting, and everyone gets to see it, and they're all complaining about it, and they're go ahead.
Oh, I just that show has been made years ago. They're not financing anything like that being done. They're allowing certain things to be played, to be shown, but to show you the insanity.
So that's the stage that we're watching.
Yeah. Colleen showed me a little video today of a couple of that mayor and her lesbian partner.
Lori something.
Whatever, that she's that mayor that looks like death warm. She looks like an absolute zombie, and and she's handing out hand wipes, and she's wearing Clorox, and it's just sickening, and it's all about death and destruction, and it's a spell.
Destroyers, the cape they were wearing, and
black magic spells, black magic spells, black magic spells. The book that we're writing, Josh and I, is White Magic, Take Your Power Back. Learn the hieroglyphics of the English language from A to Z. Take back your language and cast spells of the living, not the dead. And that's what it's all about. It's easy. It's going to be so easy. We're going to teach you etymology, how to do this, and again, what every single letter means. And you're going to see they're just beautiful.
Magnetism versus electricity.
Magnetism rising versus the downward causation of electricity. That's right. So once again, just to finish that about Montreal, and like I said, then it was Australia, New Zealand. Where has any of this fear porn got you? What has happened? So people are just saying, no, that even Charlie Ward had a video with this guy and he did the 5G. Where is it? Where's your proof? Where is any of this happening? Well, it's happening in a secret part of Tanzania.
It's happening in the head.
Exactly. Or it's China, because you can't go there. Or it's happening in this part of Russia. It's really hard to get to. And trust me, I talked to a guy who was there and he told me all about it. And so subscribe to my channel. Bullshit. They're lying to you. They're just, the truth committee is filled with liars. Sorry if it's the truth. We have to start telling the truth. Okay, it's what this is all about.
Clean up your diet, you'll be able to discern what's true and what isn't. So
Pauline shares that all the time. Clarity comes when you clean yourself up. So it's your thoughts that you take and
then you won't need
take.
Anybody to tell you, because you're going to know.
Yeah. Exactly. So people are going on with this fear porn thing. So Canada, why did Trump go there? Right? If there's just evil premiers in Quebec running around, why would he go? Because Canada is super safe, super controlled, and just no, don't listen to this crap any longer. If you do, it's completely your choice, but you're creating your own reality because
So there's two kinds of stages that you could be on right now. You could be on the horror stage, or you could be on the goodly, godly, the one where we're just eating the popcorn.
Yeah,
That's what Q always says, grab your popcorn. And then there's times you're just like, grab your popcorn. Are you kidding me? This is not, we're suffering here. But you can try to find the silver lining.
And the silver lining is when you help others. So you want to change your life. You want to have greatness in your life and rich reward in your life. Start helping others right now, today.
Because there's a lot of people to help right now. There's a lot of people that are suffering because they can't change their thinking just like that. We have to help them.
Don't worry about your job. Don't worry. Will I have a job to go back to? And what about my kids and their education and whatnot?
What about my house? Am I going to lose my house? Am I going to lose my car? Am I going to lose my business? It's all going to come back. You're not going to lose those things.
That's right. And
nobody's going to take them from you.
Jobs, this whole concept of jobs and chasing after it all has to end. It all has to end. Again, that's why Kevin Costner did Dances with Wolves. We have to dance with nature. We have to dance with nature. That is the dance with the mother who leads us to the father. And then that's a different dance.
So give yourself a gift.
Yeah. The dance with the father is the meditation. The dance with the mother is this journey of life on this vast plane of inertia.
It's all about to change, and thank goodness, because this paradigm was so necessary to change.
Yeah, just related to what you're just talking about. I just had a quick question about gold standard and gold and silver. Like a lot of people saying, oh, the stock market is going down, banks are going down, but gold and silver, oh yeah, you should collect some gold. I think again, it's one of those things you get out from one trap and then you get into another trap, right?
Well, you're never going to get into a trap with gold or silver or copper or platinum. No. These are the real riches of the physical world. This is physical world stuff. But as we told you before,
don't put too much stock in it.
Colleen and I are not we're not investing into any. We're 100% invested in this work and in helping you. Because we've done the work to help ourselves. Now, all we want to do is share this with you, and we want to be there to be not just a voice. We want there to be an example for you. We're living this. Remember, I don't know, maybe there are lots and lots of others within the truth community, but whether there are or aren't, we live what we teach. So everything that we are teaching you, we do. That's why we look the way we do. That's why we have the clarity.
In the morning, that's good.
That's the clarity that we have is because we're doing all of this beautiful work.
Do you remember that song, One Tin Soldier? I don't know who sang it. Do you remember the song, One Tin Soldier? One Tin Soldier Rides Away. Look that song up because it's beautiful. The message is incredible. It's about this community high on a mountain, and this group down below who thought that they heard that this community up above had this treasure, and they went and they killed everybody, and they went to look for the treasure, and it was beneath a stone, and it said, "Here lies the treasure, peace on earth," was all it said. Peace on earth. That's what these people had in their heart, was peace and love, and that was their treasure. And that's our message, is that you can get all the treasures in the material world, but honestly, it's the peace on earth that we all have a part of that's going to bring you the true treasures. That's what I had. That's all I got.
Is that the song by Dennis Lambert and Brian Potter?
Yeah, I think they're the songwriters for it. Yeah.
Original Castle recorded it. Castle. All right. So the next question is regarding Ayn Rand and Atlas Shrugged, because a lot of your videos you talk about her.
Yeah.
So the question is, based on your recommendation, I've started to read Atlas Shrugged. However, I'm confused about your admiration of Ayn Rand after watching a few of her interviews. Here are a few points. She had no appreciation of nature. A sky full of stars is not a cause of wonder at all, but a skyscraper is. She did not believe there is a God or that we have souls. She also thought it's not society's responsibility to help those in need. Charlie, what is it about her and her philosophy that you appreciate? And are there any of her philosophies that you do not adhere to? Thank you.
Yeah, the thing with Ayn Rand, and this is why you're within plain sight, you're now seeing so much of the Q movement, Q and R, so therefore John F. Kennedy Jr., tied to Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand wrote in allegories, and the reason she was turning dark to light. So she was taking the thing is, you're casting a judgment against Ayn Rand because you think that everything she said was, sort of a one-to-one direct representation, and that everything that organized society tells you is the truth. Ayn Rand wrote what she wrote because she realized all of organized society was a lie. I mean, just read Fountainhead, just read Atlas Shrugged, and you can't miss the message. That's precisely what she's saying. And she's saying that there's a system that is based around the socialist communist narrative that you're hopeless and useless. And every year they make you feel more and more hopeless and useless. And they taking away the power of the individual and putting it into the hands of the state, which is the greater good and the many, right? Again, hot fuzz. I was saying on the podcast with Christopher James the other day, for everyone, you need to watch this movie with Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright, that director Edgar Wright. They wrote it, they created it, they starred in it. Every single scene has a purpose. Every single number, every number has a message. And what they're simply showing you is that how everything is goodly godly, and it's being perverted because at every key level is a Freemason. Now, like Josh X was saying on our show that we just uploaded yesterday with Josh, Freemason, that's why the Freemason temple is the source of absolute truth. What lies between the two temples is absolutely the truth. And once you enter in, what you see is the complete truth. Freemasonry has been hijacked. Freemasonry has been taken over by the cabal because they saw it as a valuable asset Trojan horse, and they use it like a civilian military, okay? Because the lower Masons who don't know any truth because they haven't climbed Jacob's ladder, chase the wheel. And so they just create this false narrative about, the capitalist dream and their dream to rise up in the level of the Freemason realm. And then it makes their business successful somehow, some way. It's a secret club and secret handshakes, and secretly my business will somehow become very successful. I'll have lots of money. This is what they've turned Freemasonry into, and it has nothing to do with that. Freemasonry is all about these original knights of the covenant. All of these knights, all of the knights and the order of the knights you've ever heard of in their original form are knights of the covenant. The covenant is the Ark of the Covenant, and the Ark of the Covenant is in your head. It sits on the sphenoid bone, and it is right here. This is the Ark of the Covenant.
That's where the secrets lie.
And it holds the light of this world, which is the optic thalamus and the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, and that's the true riches of this world. So Freemasons and Freemasonry told the truth, and the structure of it was flipped upside down. That's what Baal, B-A-A-L, the Phoenician god, does. He takes the truth and flips it upside down. He's the god of deception. He's a liar. And so Ayn Rand, you're just going, I don't like Ayn Rand. No, Ayn Rand is not saying that, we shouldn't help our fellow man. She's saying we shouldn't be forced to help our fellow man. We shouldn't be forced into doing anything. That if any of this ride is going to change, that we have to have real freedom, and we have to be a real free being.
Right. So there's a balance, and I understand
Okay.
what you were saying just really quickly, because in the beginning I wasn't sure about Ayn Rand myself, because I just felt like she was more, an individual, and it's all about, what you want.
But Colleen hadn't read the books at that point
No.
either. And the whole of this is that when you take the time to read the books, what do we see with all of these people who are
Her message
allowed?
is so much more clear when you read the books.
Everybody that she is writing about and talking about, everything is based on a system of merit. It's a meretricious system. So merit is to do what is goodly, godly, and righteous. So when people say that Ayn Rand, didn't believe in God and whatnot, no, she didn't believe in their interpretation of a God. So to their definition of what spirituality or religion was, she was an atheist to their lies.
And it's hard to judge people when we don't really know what's in their heart. We don't know what she was raised with. We don't know what truth she was given.
Right.
Right.
But we do know her truth, because like all artists, they always put the truth in plain sight. So if you want to know the truth about Ayn Rand, it is not an interview with Mike Wallace. It isn't. The truth about Ayn Rand is in her books. Read them for yourself. What is the truth of Jesus Christ? That's why I've done all those videos, and it's always me taking you directly to the pages of the Bible, and in particular with regard to Jesus, the pages of the New Testament, and then in his own words. And why is it that every time, like I did with the takedown of organized religion from A to Z, that video should have 16 million views by now. It is so important, because it's not me doing anything. It's just the plain words of Jesus, of the pages of the New Testament. And everything is about this journey of going within. Where is the kingdom of heaven? It is within. How do you get there? The path that is straight and narrow. And as you get close, we have to cast thy net to the right. That's why I did 26 points. 26 key passages in the Bible that tell the true story of Jesus Christ. And guess what? It's the exact opposite of what a literalist Christian, a good, God-fearing, why the heck would you fear God? You haven't read the Bible. If you fear God, you haven't read the Bible. You haven't. You've let somebody else read it for you and interpret for you. And they're the people that wear dresses and have big cars.
Maybe if we understood what the word fear really meant, right? And the anagram for that is just false evidence appearing real, or there's another one, I forget what it is, but it's a good one.
So again, the truth of Ayn Rand is in her work. So if you want to know the truth of Ayn Rand, how do I know that Ayn Rand was a goodly, godly person, and that her message is so important for us? Read The Fountainhead for yourself.
Or watch the
Read
movie.
Atlas
The movie's
Shrugged.
pretty good.
For sure, but then that's somebody's interpretation of it. They are. I love both of those movies. Gary Cooper, who was a huge Hollywood star, there were so many Hollywood stars that were literally clamoring over each other to get that role. Why? Why was that such a big deal to get that role in The Fountainhead? Why? Because it is everything.
And they probably have it on YouTube too.
Howard Rourke is a free man. Now, how can Ayn Rand be a godless, evil person if she wrote the penultimate story of the free man? And what was Howard Rourke?
Who went against society.
Was he all about money? Nope, he wasn't. What was he? He was about his designs that came to him from in here had to freely be put out. And what were his designs? Again, remember in the movie of The Fountainhead, remember that incredible scene. There's that evil guy who ostensibly wrote a column for this big newspaper in New York. And so that's what he was. He was just a writer. No, he wasn't. He was the babysitter for the cabal in the media empire of New York. And what he was there to do was to control the narrative. And so what did he say to Howard Rourke? He said that, will you capitulate to our demands and to change your structure so that it has a Gothic look to it? And he said, absolutely not. And then he said, then you will not get this contract. And how are you going to eat? And he said, I don't care. I'll find other work. What did Howard Rourke do?
So
why?
He didn't go against what he believed in, his principles about what he was all about. And that's what we should all do.
Goodly and godly. Howard Rourke is goodly and godly. What is Ayn Rand?
So that
the
came
creator
from
of
within
Howard
her.
Rourke,
Yeah,
The
so
Fountainhead. The Fountainhead is one of the best,
Do some
most
more
important
research on
books.
her and see what you think.
Atlas Shrugged is one of the best, most important. Atlas Shrugged could be the best, most. So you have the Lord of the Rings. You have the Chronicles of Narnia with C.S. Lewis. You have the Bible, and then you have Atlas Shrugged, and those could very well be the four most important, deeply esoteric books that have ever existed. And they're showing you the truth in plain sight. So how do you say that Ayn Rand is godless and careless and what? No, she's saying you can't be forced. And so remember, they want, and in the movie for Atlas Shrugged, they make this so clear. So when it was, who had the steel, No. You're thinking Howard Rourke from no. Atlas Shrugged, and who had the steel company? Hank Reardon. So with the creation of Hank Reardon and his little disgusting mosquito brother, the blood vampire, and he's saying, I need more money. He said, oh, okay, yeah, I'll cut a check for you tomorrow. And the brother's going, could you do it like through a wire or cash? He's like, why? Well, because I don't want your name attached to it.
I want your money.
But I want your money, but I don't want your name attached to it. And so what was so wrong with Hank Reardon is that he was an individual. And remember, like Josh and I were discussing on our podcast that we just released a couple of days ago, what is the individual? In is to go within, and individual, the next part is divine. When you go within, you are divine. The individual is divine. The person of organized society of the greater good, the person is Persephone. In Greek, person is Persephone. What is Persephone? It's a prostitute, it's a whore, because you are a mask wearer and you wear whatever mask somebody tells you to put on and to wear. And that's what your whole life is. Your parents, everybody else tell you who you are and what you're supposed to do. Ayn Rand is one of the most goodly, godly people you will ever know. And how do you know this for sure? Read her books for yourself, okay? And then you'll know and you'll see the beauty of these people. And why is JFK Jr. attached to this story and this narrative and the character of John Galt? Who is John Galt? We are John Galt. We have to become John Galt. And he's going to smash the specious motor of this world. And what was he going to do? So again, you're asking,
and you know what the motor of this world was? The children.
Yeah.
Of their world that they built was the children.
Yeah. going underground. That's why this fake. They've been using free energy for years. They're faking using oil and gas and this big narrative of oil and gas. All the work that they've been doing underground is for the children. They've been using free energy for years and making it look like hydroelectric. Why do they have so many dams? To flood areas so they can hide themselves and their underground facilities and steal water. That's right.
They control the water and the food supply.
Absolutely.
And the money supply.
So how many of these hydroelectric dams are actually sources of electricity? I'll bet you very, very few. They're using free energy. Okay. They took Tesla's documents. They know about magnetism. So they're using free energy, making you think it's oil and gas. And that's what all this work underground is. It isn't. This work underground is this world, and they're not DUMBs, military bases. It's a world. It's cities. It is an entire world that's underground. And this is what we're dealing with. So again, Ayn Rand, the Bible, read the Bible for yourself. And Lord of the Rings, read the Lord of the Rings for yourself. It's not just some silly little story about hobbits. It is the most important book you'll ever read. It is us. It's us. The Bible is us. The Atlas Shrugged and the Fountainhead are us. Howard Rourke is us. And that's why every Hollywood actor was clamoring to get that role, because it's the role of a lifetime, because that was a real man. And again, who's John Galt? A real man. And that's what we have to become. That's why JFK Jr. is attached to that story and the character of John Galt, because he's a real man.
And you know when you're in the presence of that because you feel it. Next question.
All right. Yeah. Let's try to wrap it up. I don't. Yeah. So I have, a few questions, but I want to just segue a little bit into the elections and the debates, because people are talking about, what's the next debate is going to look like. Like, do you have any? Also, they're talking about the 14 days that Trump is taking off and what's going to happen right after it. I think people are talking about October 17th or something. So if you have anything to say about that.
No, because once again, what we've always told you is we're not on the inside. We have been identified as QAnons, as patriots. From the beginning, we've been identified by them as patriots that are trying hard and are doing good work. If you want someone who's on the inside, clearly, Jennifer Mack, a beautiful, beautiful young person, and her work with bringing all of the teachings of 107 to light. Jennifer's done incredible work to on her channel to allow for this 107 to be able to say, how about that last video 107 about his dream about John F. Kennedy and the assassination?
I don't know if anybody's seen that one, but it's a really good watch. So yeah, it's
wow.
It's JFK talking about a dream that he had, and the interesting
about his father and his mother.
But the interesting parts about what he's talking about is where he was when he had this dream was also very interesting. He's calling it the station, and that it had the clearest,
the freshest and clearest water
that you could ever get. And you're just like, where are you? And it's almost sounding to me, this is just my opinion, but it could be that he was up high. What do they have? Do they have the ability to have, stations that are linked to the ether? I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's something I found. Talks about the. So record on this. These are about the dreams that you were talking about, I think. So
no. It was very specific, and we'll send a link for you.
Yeah.
If any of you if you go to YouTube and you just search Jennifer Mack's channel on YouTube.
M-A-C-K?
Yeah, M-A-C-K, Jennifer Mack, a wonderful young lady. And you search her on YouTube. It's the last video that she did, and it basically says 107 has a dream or shares a dream. So in that video, 107 tells you, he confirms beyond a shadow of doubt that he's John F. Kennedy Jr. and that the dream he's having is a symbolic dream about the assassination of his father. And he's saying, and it's in a church, and that the church is false, and that there's a false narrative, and that the people have been lied to in the church, and that everybody knows that this man that is falling from upon high and is falling with his head backwards, and that it all looks like he's going to hit his head and that it's going to be disastrous. But he said nobody moved to act. They all just stood there stationary, and nobody moved to help him. And he was there, and he watched his head hit, and he knew that it was major trauma, and that he probably wouldn't survive from this. And this is an allegory of, John F. Kennedy Jr. is telling you about a dream he had about his father. And then inside of that, he's telling you about the purpose of his father and who these demons are, why they did it, and why he's doing what he's doing, and how this is all going to transcend into a new world moving forward. So it's an extremely, I think it's only like about 27 minutes or something, like about a half an hour.
Takes him a while to talk about the dream, but it is fascinating.
Yes, and the longer he goes, he just pulls it all back in, and then the dream itself, the story is just riveting, because at a certain point you realize that the church is Dealey Plaza in Dallas, and that the man falling is John F. Kennedy. And so he's telling so many powerful truths in that dream. So Jennifer Mack, we think that Kellyanne Hub News, she's a very, very bright, wonderful lady. And we feel very strongly that, especially recently, she's been in deep contact with the Q team, and they've asked her. Yeah, she does.
And so does Santa Surfing.
Yeah, now Santa Surfing is the prominent one because she's more of the truth. She's more like a truth community person. Is kind of the only connection that the Q team has into say our world of the truth community. And so Santa Surfing, she is what she is, and she's very open and honest and direct. And so people taking shots at Santa Surfing, she has no ego, and she's not lying. She's sharing. She's doing a service. And I don't think that much of what she's sharing comes from her, but she is a vessel, and she's doing an amazing job as a vessel to share the knowledge that they want you to have. So if there's somebody to listen to and to follow what is being said, that's Santa Surfing. She is being fed things directly from the Q team. We are not. They don't know us. Now, they have certainly helped us like crazy in ways that I don't know that we fully explained or that you could possibly know, but there is a deep appreciation. But remember, they always, when they're dealing with us, they always deal with Colleen and I at a bit of a hands-off. And that's because we tackle religion, we tackle the truth about Jesus Christ, which is Christ Jesus, and we tell the truth about God.
And it's hard for a lot of people, especially the literal Christians, to understand what it is we're saying. And
most of these QAnons.
So it's probably not the time for this narrative to be out there when they're trying to just grasp, the things that they need to disseminate and give out to everybody else. And there's a mass awakening, and the details with which we go into are probably not the right timing.
And they know that we are Howard Rourke. They know that we are John Galt. They absolutely know that. And they know our work about Adolf Hitler. And remember, I have shared with you two of these key components, both Joe M. and Defined Projection, who we powerfully have told you the voice of Joe M. is in the movie Atlas Shrugged Part 1 at the 47-second mark of the first movie. That's the voice of Joe M., which is JFK Jr. Now, it may or may not be JFK Jr.'s voice. I think it is through a modulator, And that's the voice in that movie. And of course, they're probably largely the funding behind that movie. And again, one of the most popular books ever made, and it had to be made very, very privately with private funding because Hollywood wouldn't touch Atlas Shrugged. So if you want to know Ayn Rand and how goodly and godly Ayn Rand truly was, and her writings and her work and her true beliefs, then know how Hollywood distanced itself so powerfully from Ayn Rand. And she had, these are some of the best selling, brilliantly loved, revered books ever, and Hollywood wanted nothing to do with them, right? It's like Lord of the Rings. Why did it take so long to make Lord of the Rings when it was the biggest selling book of the 20th century? And the first movie came out in December of 2001. It's the biggest selling book of the 20th century, and they didn't make a movie about it because it's a problem for them, because it's the truth. Ayn Rand is a problem for them because she wrote about the truth. Deal with that. And so Santa Surfing, she's a great lady. She's doing a great service, and she is definitely on the inside. We are not. We are not.
So the question is, what's going to be happening? Yeah, we'd all like to know exactly how it's going to roll out, but we don't quite really know how it's going to roll out.
But she's been releasing a lot. She released a ton last night and a ton this morning.
So we'll keep you posted as we discover what it is that they're saying. So like I said before, with Trump and Melania, the two becoming COVID, there's a lot of information that's coming out now. And so we'll be able to keep you posted. And check out the Patreon, check out our Facebook, wherever we can, we'll give the information. And then next week, of course, on question and answer, we'll be able to share all of that with you. And in the meantime, the really important thing is to love your family, stay calm, stay out of your left brain, and do the best you can with your food.
Colleen and I, that's right, and breathe. Colleen and I have helped you to do better. So if there's one thing that we've done for you and millions of others, is that we've given you the truth. And so we've allowed you to see better, and now it's up to you to do better. And the messages that we get every single day, we are getting dozens of people with messages. I've stopped eating meat. In fact, I've been out of meat for 3 weeks now, Charlie, and I cannot thank you and Colleen enough because I came by some meat the other day and I literally almost threw up. And it was only three weeks ago when the person said, I can't believe that I ever ate that stuff. Once you stop it, that's how you know all these videos
it could take some time.
Let me say this is very important. All these videos on YouTube where they're telling you, I was a vegan for 7 months and I almost died. And then as soon as I started eating cheese again, I just felt so good. And how do you know that these people are lying to you 1,000%? They're outright liars, paid to do these things by the meat, dairy, and industry.
That's
meat, dairy, and egg industry. It's a psyop. Because as soon as you spend a tiny amount away from anything that's toxic, you can't go back to it. It's like this morning.
You're gonna get sick.
Let me give you an example. This morning, Colleen, all on her own volition, and it's totally okay to do. She took all morning to gently heat some root-based vegetables in a pan. So she cooked some food, steamed it essentially very gently in a pan. And when she finished, she asked if I wanted any, and I said I wouldn't touch that for all the tea and Jen. I just wouldn't. And I wouldn't. I was eating watermelon at the time. Watermelon. And so that's the thing. You can't go back. It's like this whole lie about Alcoholics Anonymous, and the first thing they teach you so that you never go back to being an alcoholic is that I'm a complete loser and I will always be a complete loser. And I just want to thank God for making me a complete loser. And I'm always an alcoholic. I'll always be an alcoholic. I was a liar. And I just wanted to say that to start off this meeting for the 777th time, that I'm just a complete loser. Wow. And you think that's wow. Just change. How about that? Just change.
Okay? It's called willpower, right? It's all about willpower. once you make up your mind, like somebody wrote in the chat, to once you see it, it's hard to unsee it. Because once you know the truth, you can't say, oh, I don't know.
It's true. Yeah.
So that's right, folks. When you stop this meat, dairy, and eggs, when you stop alcohol, you're not going to see, this is the truth. We're telling you the truth because we're living it. That's how we can tell you the truth, because we're doing it. When you do these things, it's the same thing, for example, with sacred sex and non-outward ejaculation. I would not go near an outward ejaculation for anything. I wouldn't go near it. Why is that the case? Because I've done the work and I know the difference between them. We've been lied to. You've been lied to. And when you start following the things that we're teaching you, and I mean really doing them, you'll see that what we're saying is true. You can't go back. The rewards are built in, and you can't go back once you start down the path that is straight and narrow. Do you see the symbology of that? Because the further you go, the straighter and the narrower it gets, to a point where you physically can't even turn around. And this is one of the greatest things that Santos Bonacci, who's a real genius. We absolutely love Santos. It's absolute genius, Mr. Astrotheology. And one of the greatest things that Santos teaches is this: when you start to really do the work, and I mean not fake it, but really do it, and you start down the path, Santos says you get to a point where there's no turning back. And he means that even if you don't make eternal life with this body and that you have to transition, the worst you will do is a drop in. You will not go back to the forgetting child, a victim of some horrific parents that don't know anything. That's over. So just start doing the work. We were just talking about this last night with the symbology of Charles Dickens and A Christmas Carol with Ebenezer Scrooge. What he was most powerfully showing you is that it's never too late. John Kay from Steppenwolf and that great Steppenwolf song, it's never too late to start all over again. Because the moment you cast your net to the right, your fortunes have turned and the wind is now blowing in your favor. The wind is the breath of God. Invite the breath of God within you. And that's this deep Buddha breathing. Remember, when you breathe, if you're not using your diaphragm down here, you're not breathing properly. Buddha wasn't a big fat guy scarfing back a whole bunch of chickens. Buddha had an extended belly because he was smiling all the time because he was euphoric from the high, because the high you get from God's breath. It's upon high. And then you get high by breathing. So that's the thing. You want to get high, then just breathe and you'll get a high. You literally will get a high, but you have to breathe properly. That's the Buddha breath.
Smokers do it, right?
Yeah, actually, I used to follow this guy. Yeah, Osho. There's this Indian guru who used to be there in India called Rajneesh Osho. And people used to ask him, why do people smoke cigarettes? And that's exactly what he said. He said, because it's a meditation technique, but they're just doing it the wrong way. But what they actually want to do is like meditate, because you do a deep breathing when you're smoking, right? Like, but that's a whole nother topic. I'm going to start getting messages, people, why are you smoking?
But that's an excellent point, Lokesh. That is excellent, because if I think about it now, because I've never smoked in my life, but you think about seeing people smoke, and you're right. You look at these people smoke. It's like a meditative process to them. It is.
And it's like they look so tranquilo.
Yeah.
It's deep, and
But you can do that without the cigarette, though.
Exactly.
Without the cigarette.
Yeah.
I know, we need the Tesla cigarettes, free energy. I'm gonna probably patent it or copyright it, Tesla cigarettes.
It would probably sell really well.
Oh my God.
I know, yeah. And the cute drinks, maybe we should come up with our own brand. All right, so one last question. It's actually related to the breathing we were just talking about. So thanks. So the question is, I'm curious about breathing techniques for beginners and how Charlie recommends we breathe to get into the right space for meditation.
Right, and that's it. And so for a person like myself or Josh X, is we don't have to do anything. That's why virtually anything we're doing, and we can just immediately drop into a meditation, because that's how we live our life in every single moment. So Colleen talked about this. This is that clarity. The rewards are built into the work that you do. So when you live goodly, godly, you are, that's why the meditation video that I did is all based around being a virtuous person, because the gift of being virtuous is this level plane, is the stillness and silence. And then suddenly, like I was saying on the video, then suddenly it's like when I'm walking home at the end of the day, finishing the horses and coming from their field back to the house, and I'm always walking to the west, which is where the sun is setting. And it's like every day God has another gift and another surprise for me. And it's always showing that there's a firmament. It's always showing how close everything is. It's not like the thing is, folks, you're really, really lost when you buy into the 93 million miles away, because when your eyes start to clear, Colleen knows this very much. When your eyes start to clear, then you go, wow, that sun, it's like really close, isn't it? And it's like, it is. It's just miles away from us. It's just some miles, whatever that is, 50, 54, 45, whatever, however many miles, it is very close to us. The sun is a localized event. The moon is a localized event. It is so cold here in Mexico right now. We've never had this where
breathing.
Where it is. And so I was out in the fullness of the full moon last night, the harvest moon, and it's going to be a real humdinger tonight too. And so I was out there in the fullness of the moon, and I was just shivering. It was so cold in the light of the moon. So the first thing I did, I walked back under the garage into the shade of the moon, and immediately it warmed back up again, because the moon is the opposite of the sun. So the meditation and the breathing, what do you do? It all starts with just giving yourself to God and being a virtuous person. But when you breathe, you breathe, you're breathing in very deep, and so that you are collecting it in your stomach. And so it makes you look like you have a bit of a belly.
So when you're breathing.
So here's what you do. You're coming in through your nose, and then you're channeling it. You're focusing. See, you have to focus. And you're focusing it down into your belly. So it's like this. It's just so simple. It's just this.
And your tummy comes out, extends, right? Because you're filling up your diaphragm, you're filling up. So think of the Buddha, you're getting bigger. And as you expel.
Do that a few times, and you'll just feel so tired, because it is so relaxing. And then what you realize is that you have to work your muscles just to be able to properly Buddha breathe for any length of time. When you first start doing it, you'll find you can't do it more than about 2 times in a row, because you're just too tired to continue.
And when you breathe in as much as you can, and then you breathe out, expel as much as you can.
That's right. And so what this process is totally symbolic of is a complete cleansing of the past moment. So if you did something that you're not proud of just a moment ago, like an angry reaction, change. It's okay. Don't judge yourself and don't get angry with yourself. Just change it, and you just change that moment so it's gone
and then
forever.
Make restitution
with the Buddha breath.
Sorry,
that's
about
right.
That.
Make restitution. Right. That's so the third of God's laws of the land. And so to finish the show today, to connect that back to the sheriffs, and that's why Trump and the Q soldiers, the Q team within the military have all been deputized. That's why they all have those sheriff tags here on their right breast, and that they're deputized as sheriffs, because they are authorized to be the king's court. And that is the court of justice of he who is always as king. And Jesus Christ, who's exalted to the Father as Christ Jesus, is always as king, because he always was as king, the questions. And so what did the sheriffs do? They listened, and they listened for a wrong. That's all they did. No judgment. They closed their eyes, and they carefully listened. And then when they heard the wrongs, what did they do? They said, this is what's right. And that's what you have to do. So there were no prisons and there were no sentences. It was a resolution in the moment. And then you know what the sheriffs did between the parties? They shake hands with your right hand, and that is a bond. You're making a bond, a surety, and you are the surety, okay? And in this maritime admiralty law, they have tricked you into freely allowing yourself to become their surety. And then the punchline of punchlines, the joke of jokes, is that they literally take you as a bond, and a bond is a surety. So they know they own you, and then they buy and they sell and they trade you on the New York Stock Exchange. And remember, the worst things they can do to you, and the more problems you have, and the more dependent you become on the system, and the earlier you die, the more money they make. They are betting on us. There's a great Star Trek episode that Gene Roddenberry wrote on the original series called the Gamesters of Triskelion, right? The three skeletons, the gamesters. He's trying to make this as so clear about the cabal when he was writing these episodes. And there were just three left brains. That's all. They didn't even have use for their bodies anymore. There were just three left brains. And they were just constantly, they were capturing people from space, and then they were forcing them to then just play games. They were betting on them. That's what they do. That's what they do. That's what you learned about the stock market crash of 07 and 08 and all of these new types of investments that they're creating. All of them were just betting on you to fail, betting on you to lose, betting. It's a game to them. And we're giving us as collateral, as surety. That's crazy. So these sheriffs went around and they listened for a wrong, and then they said, make it right. Shake hands and make it right. No prisons, nothing. That was it. That's it.
So what kind of a world now do we want to live in, right? What kind of world
Yeah.
do we want to create?
That's why I don't really believe in those executions. People talk about indictments, execution. I believe in forgiveness, but that's just my opinion. Everybody.
What if the people who were doing the wrongs, though, Lokesh, don't change their ways? Then what do you do?
How do you know they have not changed okay, anyway, we can. Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, I need to.
We hear you, but we hear you. Like, we hear what you're saying, and there is a higher truth in what you're saying. But what Colleen is saying is that there is a group of people that have been around the wheel a long time, Lokesh. And that's this 6,000-year Babylonian deception that we're living in and we're coming out of right now with this proximity, right? I mean, Jupiter and Saturn, Jupiter the Father, Saturn the Son, God and Jesus Christ, they are so freaking close to each other right now in the sky. That's this new light that is coming into us. This is this new angel that is going to be readily acceptable by us, and then it's going to change. It's going to open our junk DNA. Do you know what that is? It's just taking these chromosomes that have been turned off, that are like this right now, and you know what's going to happen? They're going to do that, and they're on. And when you go like that, you're going to change overnight, in a moment. In a single moment, you will change. And then the person out there that right now is fighting all of this stuff is going to go, yeah, you're right. You're right. Obama's wife looks like a dude. I get that now. I get that. And it'll probably start with something along those lines, and then it'll get deeper and deeper and deeper. And so that's what's coming now.
But if those people were to change their ways, and they truly were to change their ways, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was this hypnotherapist, Dolores Cannon. Yeah, she used to talk about that. Some people, there's going to be a flip of switch, and then some people are going to move on to a different reality, and some on a different one. And I think it's kind of along those lines. But yeah, it was great chatting with you, Charlie and Colleen.
Thank you, Lokesh, for everything.
Yeah,
and thank you, everyone. Thank you for your questions, and thank you for coming. And it's going to be a very interesting month. So we'll try to keep you posted.
These are our amazing times. Just remember how lucky we are to be alive. I know that just seems impossible to say at times, but we are so fortunate to be here right now. And The best is yet to come. This is all real. What we're telling you, guarantee it's all real. And remember, I think most of you have come to know this because you see in God's creation all around us that everything is goodly and godly, and it's all fighting for us.
All a part of making that happen.
Yeah.
Each and every one of us is so important into making this happen for our communities around us, our circle of influence. We're all so important.
Yeah.
So we have a job to do, and we're all here for a reason.
Love your kids, love yourself, love your spouses.
Forgive yourself, forgive your
forgive
spouses.
yourself, forgive them, and begin
them.
begin to heal. And it's through your food, it's through your breathing. And it's the connection to God. Service to others is service to the self. You want to help you, start helping others.
So we're rebuilding from the inside out.
That's right. It always has to be. That's the opposite of the Luciferian agenda. Everything to them is out there. The truth is, it's in you, and you must shine it brightly for all to see.
So
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We
thank
love
you. And also love your podcasters. Don't hate on them. Because
don't kill the messenger.
yeah, exactly. People like, they're just talking within themselves about me or anybody. I've seen even Laura Eisenhower. She gets a lot of that. Like, she asks to, when she interrupts people, she's like, people line up, but they're not listening to the message. They're just, yeah. So anyway,
okay. It's okay. There's always going to be those of us who don't, in the moment, we're feeling a little cranky, or we're just not aligned, and we say stuff that maybe doesn't really fit the situation.
Yeah.
We
and
just have
forgiveness.
to realign ourselves. Exactly.
Yeah. And listen, folks, last thing for me today is, if you're not subscribed to Freak Sense TV, you absolutely should be.
And Soul Freedom too. Soul Freedom.
Yeah. Lokesh is doing some great things on there as well. And so subscribe, and just in the last 3 days, I put up 7 new videos, and all of them are amazing. And I have incredible stuff still to come with JCK,
we even have
and
a breakfast time chat,
Magenta Pixie and Jen McCarty, and then an incredible interview with Jesse Perez Casanova. Just blow your way. So the stuff that's coming is and I've done 7 in the last 3 days that I released. So incredible stuff.
Lokesh has got some great stuff too on his.
He does. Soul Freedom.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna start doing my own videos. I'm making notes, and I have the mind map thing. So I think Colleen Colleen and I talked about it. I'm gonna teach her something that she wanted to learn, and she's gonna help me with the videos. So I hope that deal is still on.
Yes.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so we'll schedule the November 3rd call as well. I think November's the election night. November 3rd, right? Like So we'll do that, the Q party. So we'll post it on YouTube on both our channels. So again, this is Lokesh from Soul Freedom Show. My website, soulfreedom.org. This is Charlie and Colleen, Freak Sense TV. Great stuff. YouTube. People were asking about hydrochloroquine. So you have, I think I posted a couple of links on some of your videos, but if you have those links again, send me. I'll post it again on this video as well. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and hopefully we'll see you again next week at the same time. Yeah, Black Cat.
She's a beauty. It's Pumpkin.
This is Pumpkin.
Oh. She's so awesome. Yeah. Okay,
All
well,
right,
thank you so much, Lokesh, and thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming. We love you. WWG1, WWW.
Bye. See ya.